All right, I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yep, you can see it.
All right, so this is like built upon that cookie store I showed you guys that one time. And then so I made some like cookies, and then if you click on them, there's like a pop-up where you can like just scan it and pay for it, and then I'll ship it to you.
Oh, cool. It's like those are real life cookie cutters.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's pretty
So,
sweet.
just click on them. I'm playing with like different designs, but
Yeah,
basically I'm taking pictures of real cookies and then creating 3D models out of them here.
that's cool.
So there's like a display.
That's really cool. How are you doing the purchase part? Like the QR code and stuff. That's really interesting.
Well, I don't have any sales yet. This is all concept. But this is with this one, because like, you know, it's, you've heard of like that unstoppable domains, right?
Yeah.
Well, this one is like a Cosmos blockchain version of it, and it's a lot cheaper to get different addresses, because I was going to make an address for each like cookie cutter design. So, you know, you see like Corgi Star Pup Business, like that will be, that's like the SKU for each cookie cutter. So, yeah, I just wanted to make it like a pop-up for each one of these. So you can just like go around and like, oh, choose this one, choose this one.
Yeah. I like it. That's really cool.
Does the QR code actually work and take you somewhere?
This QR code is unfortunately it's a link. I don't know why they have links. But it's yeah, it does. They work. And it's for like Beagle Star Pup Business. It's right now though, all these all of my star names, it's called Star Name. That's the name of the I'm not trying to shill it or anything. This is, but it's like the token is called Star Name, and then you create like your domain. My domain here is Star Pup Business, and then I can create kind of almost like an email address, but instead it's like a purchase address for each one of my cutters in the same domain. So this one's Beagle, you know, this one's Corgi, this one's Poodle, or
So it's like
I don't even have them matched correctly. This one's Dogecoin. And,
I guess it was more about how you're getting their addresses.
Oh, so yeah, that's a great question.
Decentraland.
So obviously you don't want to put somebody's address, like physical address, on the blockchain, because you can, you know, with any Cosmos token or transaction, you can have them put it in the memo, but then it's on the blockchain. So they literally have to register their star name with me. So the theory is that they already have a star name, like, you know, you see my name's Ed, so it'd be like Ed Star Cosmos, and then you'd register Ed Star Cosmos. I would register my address on my website, and then so if I ever see a transaction from Ed Star Cosmos, a transaction with like Dogecoin Star Pup Business, I would know the address and send it.
Okay. You know, you might want to try doing something like incorporating Shopify or one of those other sites already, just to get it off the ground and then start to incorporate the more crypto stuff.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
I think that might be a good start, just so that way you have something that you can send to, you know, people to go take a look at your virtual marketplace, and they can actually do stuff like next week, maybe, like, you know, like you can do it a lot faster. You just
exactly. If I were to launch this like tomorrow, I would definitely like take off the star name right there.
Yeah.
And then have each one of these actually, QR code link to the web page for that cutter. Yeah.
And you're right about like not only the blockchain, but I would also be a little bit worried about sending anybody's personal information across anything at the moment. With Decentraland, like, you know, no credit card numbers or anything along the lines of that would be a little, I wouldn't say it's like, I'd say it's risky. I haven't seen or heard anything really bad in that area, but yeah, no one wants to be the first. So, but if you just like link it to a Shopify, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
And
what
then
I would do. Got a Wix
Even
site.
have it auto fill out their crypto address, so you know that they got it from Decentraland, and it was um, deferred to it from there.
Yeah. Oh, and so I'll tell you about this model right here, this 3D model. These are
Sure.
all actually on one entire 3D model because I was loading up in the code each one of these cookies individually, but
Yeah.
then I ended up having weights. I was just eating up the amount of materials I can have. So
You know, if you want, send me the photo, like what you have there, and I'll show you a technique that I have for making those semi 3D. We'll maybe play with that a little bit if you want.
okay,
Does
yeah,
that sound?
sure.
I mean, we could, because like you can make it like a single model. There's a way of, I know not many people have Illustrator, but you can do it in other ones as well. But I have Illustrator. You can get an outline. Basically, you can get a path for each of those cookies, relatively easy. I guess we'll find out. And then you export it into Blender, and then you have the path, and then you can extrude it and make it kind of like, a little 3D. And then we can just apply the texture to each of them. So you have a little bit of depth, and then you can play with it on your own to get like, maybe make the nose stick out or something. We
Yeah,
can play with
I
that.
actually did do that. Each one of these, they're like, can't really see it, but yeah, they're like flat cutouts. I just
you
made
got it.
them planes just to decrease the amount of polygons.
Oh no, don't worry about that. I would make them a little bigger, but you make sure that the path itself that's around it, you don't have to have a high resolution of it. It's like like around the ears, there's a curvature to it. You don't need as many points for that. When you do extrude it and bring it, from a plane to an extra 3D object, it's gonna increase the amount of polygons by magnitude of how detailed that outline is. There's other techniques too, where I'll actually show you guys that maybe in just a moment too, of how you can take a single image and just stack it multiple times on top of itself with an alpha transparency, and you can get that effect with actually no polygon increase or really much of anything. It's actually quite sweet. I think that might actually be the best way for you to handle this, to be honest. I'll show you that in just a little bit. That's probably the fastest way for you to get this effect.
Okay. Yeah, and here's the
Yeah.
here's the
cool.
texture. Yeah, the reason why one of the main reason why I actually didn't have these as 3D and I put them on planes is because then I would also have to like design the texture for the rest of the 3D shape.
Yeah. Well, let's imagine we can make it so that you don't. All you have to do is upload a transparent PNG. And we'll make it real simple for you. Actually.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll show you how that's done. I'll add that to the queue today.
okay. All right, cool.
That's cool, man. It's a great job. You're doing like so much stuff in here. I'd love it if we could work on it one day together. Just take a look at the scene and try to add a whole bunch of stuff, like all of us together, try to help you out, get this thing a little bit further along.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so like this is all one file. I use the code for choosing different layers in the Blender file.
Someone has control of your pointer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See if you can pass this. I'm going to grab the screen.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just want to do some stuff. Okay. So one quick question. The Shoes, do you want to show off the DCL Studio real quick? And we'll just do like a 10-minute just discussion about what features and stuff to add to it, or take some more questions, because we only were able to touch on it lightly last week.
If you want to, I sent you the file. Like I said, my laptop's rendering right now, so I can't share.
Okay.
But I sent you the video file in Discord. If you want to, download that, you can play it through, or we can talk over it or whatever.
Yeah. Just one second. Let me find it. Is this a new one or is this the same video that we had?
It's the same video.
Oh, okay, then I can just find it anyways. Okay. So you guys can see it? You want to talk over it?
Here's the newest version of.
Oh, we
the,
have you already
DCL
talking about it.
Studio.
Should I just play it?
Again, have much the same functionality, but turned it in so it works with a mouse or even touch screen. Can change camera angles. They run on the timeline. When you click them, if you click back on them, they restart the timeline. If you left shift and click, it'll stop it there. Also shows the preview down there. You can change cameras. Holding shift down and going back, it'll go back to the previous position. So you can have it go through like that angle, change it up, do things, go back, be back at that angle. Some newer additions, turn on a black fade that we can control by hand, turn it off. Also able to access the post-processing, so we can turn the override on, jack the saturation, contrast, and add some lens distort. Able to reset them all. The reset button. You can turn them on and off by turning off the override. There you go.
It's great.
There you go.
Very cool. All right, I'm gonna mute it and we can have it going. So what do we want to do with this? You want to get a round of suggestions? Or
Yeah, I mean, if anyone ever has any feedback or any, things they would like to see in it, I definitely, take ideas and look at how I'd incorporate it.
Definitely. I have a couple of questions to start too. Like, how would somebody start to play with this? Is there like you plan on making a repository for it, or like, is it just they would hire you to film it? What is your roadmap? Or how are you thinking about this thing long term?
A lot of this was developed on company time too, so I have to really discuss with them where they want to go with it. I mean, if anyone wants to use it, by all means, I think we're definitely try to beta test it out and try to make it better. So I don't see any issues. Just reach out to me either here or I'm in the Decentraland SDK chat. Right now, it is a little bit more of a manual process where you do have to go and pre-program all the cameras in and the movements in. So it is kind of a custom order right now per person. Later on, we could look at implementing it where you can move the cameras around in real time and set up your scene and just kind of save the file. And then you can load it back in and then just run them. But I mean, that's a lot more work and we have to decide if that's, the future of it.
Cool. I do know that this Friday is MetaZoo's 1-year anniversary of their Friday events. I think Tyler's on. Sue, he's on. I think if you wanted to stress test this thing with 100, users or more, because I know you have like multiple cameras, and maybe you want to try it out on that event. I think it's Friday at 7, if I'm not.
Yep, that's right. I'd be happy to if you're interested. This would be really cool to set up over there. I could help you program the movements you need or whatever.
Sure. Or even, we can talk about it, on Discord or whatever, getting like a shot list from you being like, hey, this is cool because I just developed a tool that I think you can do cool things with, but I don't know cool things. So that's where it's really getting like an artist to be like, pan from here to do this.
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking also, I think this would be great for the Decentraland report, Kevin on Earth's thing. He maybe we could make like a metaverse TV studio, right? Like different angles where they could do live news broadcasts.
Yeah, that's what me and Patrick have talked about in the past is like a Seinfeld, like how Seinfeld set was set up back in the day. It was like 4 different areas that the actors just walked over to. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
we had little 4 different areas, and you're like, you could do all Saturday Night Live kind of deal in there.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Machine
So
learning.
cool.
And
And then
I
when
know
they
I-
come out with the custom emotes too, then you could have.
I know I want to do a game show, and I know there's quite a number of podcasts that we've been talking to have them in there. It might be fun to do, like almost like a talk show podcast kind of thing in there. It'd be interesting. So there's a lot of people have reached out to me to reach out to you. So I'll get them in touch with you as soon as possible. I don't want to overburden you, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things
quite a couple of people in upcoming weeks.
one of the things I don't know about and would like to get people's feedback is right now you have to run 2 screens, you know, and you can't resize them. So it's got to be pretty much full screen because Unity won't let you do 2 screen setups like this where you can resize them unless you set up like a server and all that crap. But should it all be in one screen, or is it better to have like this live view be a full screen so you can see everything and then everything else is on a secondary screen? It limits to everyone that uses it would always have to have 2 screens.
Yeah, I would do one screen. That way it's a window. You don't have to go. Do you have to go? You probably don't have to go full screen, do you?
I mean, if it's on one screen, then it could be windowed, but you can't have 2 windows. So you can't have the controls and the view like you see here in 2 windows.
So,
And start to think about it, I can send you a screenshot or stuff, whatever, but if you have 16 cameras at the bottom, all these controls are jammed up at the top, and then there's the movie player and the run a show.
yeah,
If you start running out of real estate space and it starts becoming like one of those tools, if you're serious about using it, then unfortunately, maybe you do need to do 2 screens because your live preview is going to be tiny.
yeah. I mean, that would work. I mean, it would be all right if that area that's above those 4 panels that could easily just be the view.
Yeah, but there's 16 of those panels now.
Well, maybe you can mess with the UI a little, or you just try different options with it.
Yeah.
One thing I know would be great is if it's a standalone, you just kind of you have it in one window, right? Imagine someone who just has one screen and it's on a touch screen, like a fancy one like yours, and they put in the RMTP server to stream out. Can you stream out from Unity that feed, or is there some how would I attach that to a different feed, or
Right.
to stream it?
Right now, I stream it with OBS on the main screen here.
Okay.
So that's another thing that would have to be thought up is if it did go to some sort of different stream, then yeah, implementing a stream out solution in the application itself instead of having to use OBS. But
Okay, it might be something to look into because I know that Unity, a lot of people stream their games all the time. I don't know if they always use like the video capture. I think like some games that even have the utility to just stream it from inside the game. Might wanna
yeah,
look
I'm sure
into
it's
that.
possible. It's just, is that something worth looking into, or is just using OBS,
Yeah.
because you do get a little bit more control if someone did have OBS.
Yeah,
But we could just have a stream button. Yeah, start stream, stop stream. And then if someone wanted to use OBS, they could pipe it into that and then out, or.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, yeah, probably need some user feedback from the end, who would end up using it at the end. I have a couple ideas, but if there's anyone else that's on this call that has any other suggestions, how would you use this? What are your limitations on your computer and stuff like that? We'd like to know more about it to help out.
How do the camera angles work again? What do you put? What do you code something into the scene?
It's coded into or it's not really coded, but it's placed into the standalone application. The cameras kind of run, I interject my own cameras on top of the Decentraland Unity renderer.
Oh, Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a little hands-on for that. You need a Unity or Cinemachine, or not necessarily Cinemachine, but you have to learn how to build those. Unless we can
Yeah.
figure out a way to do it through code or somehow have the scene export some data that you would be able to grab from within the scene.
And that's kind of the issue too, that it is a pain to set up because you have to guess at how many cameras you're gonna have first, put them into the scene, add animators to all them, then start the scene, get to the land you want to, because all the positions are different. There's no way to preview it. Then you do all the animations and everything like while you're just chilling out front. And I mean, you can see everyone's secrets where they're hiding stuff, because you can just rip through buildings. There's no barriers.
I didn't show stuff.
And yeah, so if someone tries to keep you out of a land by blocking you from walking on it, I could just take a camera and rip through there and see what it is. But so you have to edit it all while you're live, and then save it, prefab everything, then shut it all down. Then when you start it back up, you just launch all that stuff and it'll have all the saved movements back in it. It is a little bit of a pain to set up.
Yeah,
But
it might be something that you can say to a property, I'll set up the cameras and make a prefab or something, and then that's a file that you send to them to use, so that it would just be almost, like with a lot of these production things, they're not building the camera rigs on the fly. They're doing it days in advance and stuff. And
yeah,
maybe you can send them a configuration file of some kind to just like import.
yeah. I mean, at this point right now, it would just be sending them a build of this, being like, hey, have 2 monitors set up. Here's your build. Good luck at the event. Or I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, if it was like, hey, download the base package now, if you have other events, you don't need to download, the 130 meg, 300 meg file anymore. It's just, here's your little updated JSON file or whatever.
Oh, I was muted. That's awesome. All right, it looks like there's no more questions, but I mean, I think that we should revisit it in another week or two and see what updates and things that you've put into it. Do you plan on doing any development work on it? Like,
Yeah,
weekends?
I need to do some work on it. I think the feed is pretty interesting. And keep going. And there's the video issue. I just haven't looked at it the last couple of weeks. So we'll stay in touch and see like how far. I'm confident that it works for any sort of event. It's just how much user friendly do we need it so I don't have to do it all. And
So what basically people would, with this tool, they'd be able to create like content to share on social media?
yeah, so you could create content with it. We could take the OBS feed or the feed from it, pipe it back into Decentraland. So it's some sort of like weird mirror effect, which would be interesting. But I know like Sandbox, I think, might have like a weekly show. So what if like Decentraland had like a weekly or monthly SNL skit or something, or where the sets are the same? I mean, it's like a very much like Red versus Blue, the old Halo videos. But yeah, it's more content creators, I think, to answer your question.
And how much, and I mean, do you plan on making money with this?
Probably not. I have no idea what the company wants to do to it, because they do hold most of the rights to it because it was written on their time. They love it and they think it's a great tool. We just need to kind of define where we're at with it. But if there's something you have in mind, definitely hit me up. More than happy. It's not like it's a money grab by any means or anything like that. It's just something cool that we created, and I just want to make sure legal's okay with me just releasing it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Is it
But
possible?
if you have any ideas, or you want to do something with it, by all means, let's talk, because getting it out there and having people test with it or try different things out. It's the only way you're ever going to be like, oh, it's worth something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can reach out. Yeah, once I have my shop going. I mean, I'm still working on it, but this would be something, yeah, to try it out on. Definitely.
That right-hand side, the big screen, is it possible to have multiple cams going on that as well?
Yeah.
Like a bird's eye view, maybe in the corner, and then like be able to bounce between them. Interesting. Very cool. All right, I guess we'll move on to the next section. If there's no more questions, we'll just last round of questions. What am I doing here? I'm like bouncing all around. Guys, we were to probably start with the cookie cutter thing. Do you have that image, by the way?
The image of the cookies.
Yeah, I was wondering, you have me on Discord, right? Can you just send it to me?
Um,
Up for that. I forgot to share my screen for a minute there. Yeah, just because I'm going to go into DCL Dash really quickly, and then I wanted to jump into that just to help you out with like a technique for it.
Okay, cool. Can you give me a couple minutes? Because I got to like email it to my phone.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Sounds good. Thank you, Shoes, for that demo. And in a week or two, we're going to take another look at it. It looks awesome. I can't wait to try it out myself. Although I don't really know Unity all that well enough to set it up, so you might want to also make like a training video of like how to set up an initial camera or something might be useful. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. Last week, Nico was mentioning that the new version has hello.
Hey Pat, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Jim. Yeah. Awesome. It's really cool actually seeing the progress on your stuff. It's awesome. I haven't actually joined in a while, but I'm just curious, like if suppose I wanted to build something in Decentraland where it's like I want to sell, maybe I want to sell an NFT for like 0.1 Ethereum or X amount of Matic. Like how is that even possible to build, or how would you go about doing that where it like pops up either a MetaMask pop-up or some kind of Decentraland pop-up that says like, do you want to confirm this transaction for 0.1 Ethereum?
Yeah, so there is the awesome repository Decentraland. If you go here, they have a utility library. If you scroll all the way down for the layer 2 transactions and regular blockchain transactions. So you would here, we have a crypto utils, open that one, and we also have layer 2 utils.
So this would be a layer 2 one, probably using like Polygon Ether or something like that.
I mean, that's really up to you. It depends on what contracts you want to interface with.
I mean, probably because like just thinking practically, like the gas would be way lower using that rather than a mainnet Ethereum or something else.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, if you're dealing with like NFTs, like wearables and things along the lines of that, or I would recommend doing layer 2, obviously, because most of those are already on layer 2. But if you could look at that one here for the layer 2 utils.
Yeah. But even when you're in layer 2, like with the Decentral Games Casino, they let you play with either Matic or Ether or DAI or free money, so it's hard. Like, should you price your things in terms of all three of those, or what's the most popular? Is it Mana because it's Decentraland?
People use Mana quite frequently, but I've seen you can use almost any crypto, so it's really up to you to do. I would do something if you want a fixed price. Like I would say, one of my recommendations would be like, it should be about $10 US, or just come up with a name for it, and then do a query
Mhm.
like do a fetch to get the current price in whatever currency and get the equivalent, and then let the price scale according to the current market. I think is a good way of kind of handling it. So like it could be like, 3 mana one day and then 2 mana the next day. It just depends on the price, but it should all, just so people are in their heads, they're thinking, oh, it's like $10. Yeah. Just
Mhm.
that's something I think might be useful. I hate it when I go to certain places and like they have the entrance is 5 mana or something, and it's they set that like a year ago, and mana is
It's
now.
just fixed at 5 mana.
Yeah, you know what I
So
mean?
what kind of API do you use to get the current price though?
So for that's a little bit weirder because you have to definitely look to find like what APIs would get it. I know that if you have an Infura account, I think you can do queries to get prices through using Infura.
I would recommend using cryptocompare.com. They have a great API and WebSockets and everything. If you want to,
Oh, that's right. Did you have a
yeah,
limit, I think, on the amount of calls you can get though, maybe?
100K or something a month or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can get quite a lot. You can get your free, you get your key, and they'll explain to you how to do it. It's a good suggestion, Isaac. Trading signals, pair mappings. I think you can even test it out. I don't know. I don't know what the demo, you'd have to play with it. This is my actually first time here, so I'm not even totally sure how to.
You need to log in and then it will give you an API key that you can just plug in right there and it'll let you like ping the API right from this
Oh,
this
okay.
documentation page.
I'm not 100% sure I want to go through with that just yet.
Yeah, it was just a good idea for getting the live pricing or quotes on any crypto really, and you can like get the quote in whatever base base currency you're interested in, which is nice. Yeah.
That's cool. I would do something like that. And you know what? If you want to chat about this even after this, reach out to us because I think that type of call it might take a little bit longer to get sorted than this session because we'd have to like research some stuff, play around. But I think like just going to Crypto Compare, finding the API there's got to be examples.
I've built a little system where there's like a express server that creates an invoice that's only valid for 5-10 minutes, and then that generates like a QR code on the UI that someone can scan. But after 5 minutes, the UI doesn't show it anymore, and you have to generate a new one to get a new quote, and it kind of saves in the database and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty technical.
Perfect.
For an hour session.
Here's a good example. They actually walk you through it pretty quick. It cuts through all the crap.
Interesting.
How to set up
Morales also. Have you guys heard of Morales? I've used that a few times. I liked it, but
I haven't messed with it.
Didn't exactly use. I used it for just like looking up, like I looked up my own address and saw all the random tokens that people have sent me. But yeah, this is definitely good. What you guys put in the chat.
Let me just. I'm going to switch my Wi-Fi real quick. Morale. Can you post a link to that for the people that want to check it out?
It's Morales. I forget if it's Morales.io or. And then the guy.
Can you guys hear me?
Behind it, like posts a lot of YouTube videos and different things.
Okay. Hopefully. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that. I'm gonna just show you guys the utility that I made. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So I have like a lot of helper functions that I just been using on a lot of projects to kind of just make things a lot easier. So I actually want to demo a couple of them, but this is done through the new package thing. Let me make 2 of these windows really quickly. I'll show you. So so if you are in an empty directory, normally you would do DCL init to start your scene. But if you update to the new version, you're going to see a couple more options here. So you have scene, and actually if you go to scene, it's kind of cool because now there's a whole bunch of different starter scenes that you could pick. Or, ooh, I didn't even know that it goes further down. It's interesting. So you could even clone from another URL. That's great. Really sweet. I don't want to do that. So I want to do a library. So you go to library. It's in a just scaffold a project. I don't really want to make a library, so I'm going to only get to a certain part, and then I'm going to stop. But let's take a look at the code that it outputs. It's pretty similar to just a regular scene, honestly. The addition on the left is like there's like this roll up, which you don't have to worry about really, for the most part, unless you really getting into it. But all it's doing is it's exporting this example component, and if we were to look at that, it's just a very basic thing, not all that crazy. There's a tutorial in the README that will kind of like basically like how to actually use this thing. They're updating the docs to add some more information to it, but basically, if you scroll down to where is it? What's the deployment process? Oh, this might not even be the most up-to-date version. There's more docs, I think, to come in here. I don't know why it's not here. All right, never mind. Basically, when you build this thing up, you're going to want to go to you make a GitHub repository, you push the code into that new public repository. And then from there, you're going to be setting a couple variables for your API key from npm.js. So you have to make an account on npm. This is what actually holds the code that you have. So even though it's on GitHub, npm is a registry, a node package manager. It's like a package registry. And I don't know if I can sign in. I don't know. What is my password? I don't know what it is. But anyway, you sign in and you grab an API key and then you paste it into GitHub. There will be more instructions in the next version. And I followed it. I made my own repo here. Me and Zoo have been working on this one together. And I'm going to go over a little bit of it and how to like set up a quick version of it and then play with it real quick. So I have over here on just an empty directory. I'll do just a DCL init. I'm going to actually just pick a starter scene. Cool. All right, so we have our regular scene stuff. I'm going to do npm install DCL dash at, I'm going to get the next version. I always want to have the most up-to-date version, so I always do that, at least for my repo. And now I'm going to do DCL actually code. Look at the code for it. I'm going to do DCL start. We're just going to look at a couple of these. There's no documentation because I need someone to help me with it, to be honest. Writing it is one thing, and then writing proper usable documentation is quite another. So I just cleared out the game.ts. See if this one will load. So if you installed DCL dash, what you're gonna notice is when you start to type in dash, I have all of the functions to help prefixed. So if you know that it's in DCL dash, you could just kind of find it really quickly. We have a thing called animation queue, ease, which is all the different type of easing functions. I always use this thing called global canvas. I always create it. Decentraland has you're only supposed to have one canvas per scene is what you're supposed to do. But every project seems to incorporate their own version of it. And until they make it like your scene only has one canvas, it's, I don't know, for performance reasons, whenever I do something with the UI, I have my own, I just use this every time, this canvas object. I'll get to it a little bit later. Let's look at the rest of them. Right, we have this thing called on update frame. And then a lot of people have been having problems, myself included, with how to properly UV map certain stuff. From just when you put a plane down and you add a texture to it, it's always upside down and backwards by default. So we can adjust the UVs with a couple of these presets. And we'll mess with those a little bit. And we also have like this weight function, which I really like a lot. And I'll show you, I'll start off by showing you that one, I think, first. So let me just open up the console, because a lot of these things we're only really going to see through here for the time being. But there are some instances where, let's say I'm working on my property and I'm on a second floor and I'm doing some edits. And every time I save, I fall through the floor, and then the scene loads in, and now I'm like, stuck in the ground somewhere, and it's really frustrating. And one real quick tip that I always do is I find the location of where I am. Let's see. I don't know where I am. Damn, I can't see it. Let's just say I want to go to the center, right? I can do the dash wait. Oops. And then I pass it a function, just like you would with like another set interval kind of command, or set timeout rather. And I can say move player 2, and then I could put in x0, y. I'm sorry, x8. Thing was in the way. Right? For this, I think I have to go in here and actually adjust the scene JSON to include. What was this? To move a player, you have to add a special permission in your scene JSON. So let me just add that really quick. Okay. And I think I have to redeploy it real fast. So I'll just turn it off and then on again. Should always reset whenever you update your scene JSON. Okay, so now if I go back to in here, I'm basically saying it's going to run this function after 5 seconds. So hit save. It should move me. Maybe 5 seconds is too long. I'm just too impatient. How about this? How about we just do a log for the first thing? Am I doing the right thing? Oh wait. Oops. It's still loading. Sorry. So many tabs. We also have a thing called animation queue, and I want to show you guys what that is too. There's a lot of other utilities that are coming. So waited 1 second. Let's see if let's revert back. So move player 2. There you go. It just waited a second and then it moved the player into the scene. So on a lot of my builds, if I'm on the second floor and I'm working on something, and every time I save, I fall through, I find where I want to be by hitting this little button here, and I'll look at the coordinates. I don't know why the UI is this way, but it has really bad graphics unless you're on Ultra. Sometimes it makes the text illegible, especially this. But if I wanted to start right here, it's like 1326. Yeah, if I wanted to start, yeah. You just write this down and put it in here and set the wait to be 2 or 3 seconds. It doesn't really matter. And then every time, just teleport you there. You don't have to worry. And then you can just hide this when you don't want it. and it's good to go. Okay, so weight is pretty sweet. We also have, let's say, animation queue. Okay, so in the docs, in here, until I actually write formal docs, if you look at the code in the utils, it'll show you like an example of its usage. So I'm going to just copy this real quick. Okay. Right. So we edit. So this is what it looks like, dash animation queue. So I'm going to add basically what this will do is it will execute this function here on frame every frame of animation. What we would do in the past or like previously was we would do like class, let's say box animator, implements iSystem. You'd have like a constructor, then you would have like an update, DT, number. Right, this is according to the docs, and you would have some component thing that you would you would add, and you'd be checking it, and then every frame you would have to do this thing where it was like you would have a timer, a number, 0, and then every time this would happen, it would be like this dot timer plus equals. You would add the time, the delta time, which is the time in between every frame. You would add it to the timer. And if there was like a duration of you want this thing to happen for 5 seconds, for instance, this would slowly climb every frame of animation. And after 5 seconds or so, and maybe some change, 5 point whatever, it would, you would do like, I don't know, if this timer is greater than or equal to this duration. Like you can see like this, it's really frustrating to have to mentally exhaust ourselves to build these things out. And it's not entirely efficient a lot of the time. What the animation queue is essentially doing is taking away a lot of that boilerplatey stuff that you have to do. And we're just kind of saying, like, we don't even need this technically. We don't even need this technically. But I could just say here, animation, this is going to last 10 seconds. Let's even get rid of that. Let's just start very basic. So it's just on frame, it's going to show progress for 10 seconds. And let's take a look at what this will output. And then I'll start adding things slowly, and you can see it's pretty cool. So I'm going to save. And you'll see over here, it's slowly going over 10 seconds now. It's climbing from 0 to 1. And you can see it goes even a little bit over 1, honestly, because the way that the frames and time work. But if I wanted to do some sort of animation really quickly about, let's say, let's make a new box really quickly. So let's do, just add a component, new box shape, test box dot add component, new transform, and engine dot add entity box. Let's also give it a little bit of a position. Let's put it in the middle of our scene. So just quickly made a box on myself. Okay. Now, if I want to have this thing just, I don't know, what do we want this thing to do? Scale it a little bit, maybe slowly, right? I can come in here and I can say, instead of logging, I know that this is going to go from, in 5 seconds, it's going to go from 0 to 1. We could do a scale of this box real easily. We can say test box dot get component. We're going to get the transform object, scale, and we're going to set all of the values. And I'm just gonna go to the next line just because it's a little easier. And now we can do a thing called lerping, which we never really get into a lot, but what it's called scalar lerp. And it takes a start value, an end value, and then an amount. So if I want this thing to scale from 1 to 5, right? So it starts off at 1, let's even say 2, because I don't want to have to remove it. And the amount, this is now a number from 0 to 1. Of 0, the value would be the starting number, and as it gets, this amount gets closer to 1, it'll get to this end number. So because progress is going from 0 to 1, we can now just plop it in there. So this is going to lerp between these two values. So if I hit save, we're going to see our box is actually like very quickly just kind of just scaling. Oh boy, it should stop. There we go. Okay. And if I want this to maybe happen in 2 seconds, just change the duration. 1 second. Okay, cool. And I can also now have an on complete. So when this function is done, I could do something else. I could say, you know, log box is now double the size, right? And I could look in the console, and when it's over, it's done. I can also do something on init. So like if I want to have a function like I don't know, tell like something on the UI to even tell the user. I mean, technically, I could also have just done it like whatever, put the code here or whatever. But there is an on start. And what else did it have? There's some others. What was the other features in here? Yeah, we have on frame and on data. So there's also I might want to pass along some value. So if I had let's just make a color value for blue or something. I don't know. I'm trying to make it up as like I could say on. Well, yeah. How about this? I can do start color, and I can also do end color. Just let's say 4-2. Let's make this red. Okay. I can pass along into this the data object. I think that's how it's done. 1 second. Oh no, I just passed it just straight up. Just data, right? I'm just passing along this value. Now in this function, I also have access to these values as well. So if I wanted to do a log of data, we'll see. I'm wondering why it's not. Let it refresh. So what we can also do with this is we can also lerp the color based on this progress value as well. We're going to do that real quick. So it moved and it's printing out these colors. So let's make a material for our box shape, and let's just call it nope. Yeah, test box material const equals new material. And let's set the, actually, let's just add it to our component. So we're just going to add this material, right? Changes a little bit of color. So the default one is really white. When you add another material with no values, it just turns gray. It's kind of a good way of seeing it. But in here, I can say test box material dot material dot albedo color is equal to, and there's no scalar lerp is going to go this way, but we can also do color 4 dot lerp, and we can pass in data, because we have access to data dot start color, data dot end color, and we can pass in progress as well. All right. So now you can see that it's also animated. So this little guy is actually pretty powerful. Just from the start, you could do some really fun stuff with it. And I don't know, Just thought it's useful. I use it all the time. I think it's great. It also shuts off. If you can have as many of these things in here as you want, and then when it's all over, it stops the entire system. So that previous thing with the I system, it's sometimes you have 20 or 30 of them in your property and you're wondering why everything's slow. It's because we forget to turn them off. If you use the dash utils animation queue, just you don't have to worry about it now. It's so nice. And let's also take a look at another one, which is on interframe. So we like this on interframe thing, right? It's pretty, I like it. Let's take a look at an example of this one. So this is a variation of it. It's a little bit different. Let's say data 2. I just have to rename some stuff. This is, I have to change the docs, obviously. Dash wait. Okay. So let's take a look at what it's doing. Okay. So the box is still going to animate. That's fine. But what I could do here is say, I want, we can even take this business logic. Let me copy this. Let me comment it out for a moment. I'll leave that. We're going to apply this to the animation queue real quick. Sometimes you want these types of effects or the animations to occur under certain circumstances. Sometimes you want to start them, we want to stop them, we want to pause them, and they're you know, it could be frustrating. So here we have, let's get rid of that data. Let's see, track entity. I'm going to add it in slow. Let me see. Let's start. So the first thing we do is we create a new const variable, anything we want to name it. I can just say this is, let's say, box animator. Let's just call it something because we're going to do, when we click this thing, we're going to start this animation, essentially. Let's just do that. And I want to have, this is my function that it's going to run. And I'm going to pass in data, which is the color object. And I'm just going to basically just copy these values, the box animation stuff. Really don't have progress though, do we? How about this? We'll just do log, handle and animation. We'll just do something simple. Okay. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to kick out an object for me that has start and stop, right? So I can have a start function, and it's just going to start doing it until I call stop. So if our box, sorry, test box dot add component, let's make it clickable, new on pointer down, which also takes a function. Getting okay, log this box has been clicked, right? Come over to the box and click it. This box has been clicked. Well, I can now basically take this animator thing. I could turn it on and off with this now. So I moved up to the top, for instance. Got rid of that for a second. In this event, I can say box animator.start. Come over here and I can click it. It's animate. It would be doing an animation right now. I can click it again in a second. It'll turn off. We'll do let is animating equals false. When you click on it, let's move it down. Box animator dot stop else. We're going to start it. So this is just like a simple toggle. right? It's going to switch these values. Oh, actually, I have to set it now. Is animating equals false. Is animating equals true. Okay. So now I'm clicking on the box. We'll see the logs down below. It starts the numbers climbing. I'm going to click it again and it turns off. Right. So we could do a whole bunch of stuff for that. Like it could just be, a button to start the game and then a timer happens, it turns off. I don't know why it doesn't have a progress bar. I guess there's no duration for it. Yeah, but I mean, we could just as easily, just put in, this function too in the one that we had into here and uncomment it. Actually, we could make it now so that when you click it, it animates. Oop, there you go. It's just kind of winging it, just throwing some stuff out there to see if there's any questions or anything. Does anyone have any questions about this? Any opinions whatsoever?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Just kind
Looks,
of messing with it.
looks kind of simple to use.
I'm going to have much more documentation very, very soon for it. Too. If anyone wants to help me with it, I would really appreciate it. It's just kind of hard sometimes for me to get the time to do it. But in terms of the UV stuff, we'll just look at the code for that. I don't think I have to really. I'll just show you a little pseudocode of it. But for like a regular image, you might have, let's say, like a plain test image. Add component, new plane shape. Actually, we can't do it that way. One thing about this before we move on to it too far. So when you do this, if I was to add a plane shape to this object right here, so this is a new image, engine dot add entity test image, for instance. Let's give it a. Let's actually just try to do it. New say new vector 3. Let's take a look at our world. Get this every now and then. It's kind of wild. But when you just put plane shape into your component like this, we can't update, we can't change it. And if you were to make a new one like this, right? Now I can come in and I could look at the plane shape, and there's other stuff in here I really need. I really have no idea what height is. That's actually kind of weird. What the hell is height? But we have is pointer blocker. So this is sometimes you want people to click it. Sometimes you don't want them to click it. Did you know that was available? It is there. You can mess with it. You can turn on and off. It's pretty cool. With collisions too, you can say false. You can allow people to walk on through these various objects. It works good for boxes as well. Any of these primitive shapes. And then the most important one is UVs. And this allows us to map how an image texture is applied to the surface of this object. And each of these numbers that do exist in the UV are like an individual point. Let's take a quick look at one of this. Like it's like 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Or something, right? I think that's the point. That's on this side. Those are just numbers that represent on a picture. Like 0 to 1 is often 0 to 100%. So whenever we see these types of values with UVs, we're thinking it's not 0 to 1, it's 0 to 100% essentially. So if you had an image, it would, you want it to take up the entire width, then the entire height. It's like kind of hard to explain. Anywho, when we attach a picture to this thing, it just is always off. It's always rotated upside down. What we would do here is test plane shape UVs equals dash, and then you go to UV image, and then That's it. You don't have to worry about it. It automatically generates the proper UVs for that entity. Now you don't have to really care about it. Videos are handled a little bit differently too. So like for a video screen, I don't know why, but they're rotated in a particular way, and it's frustrating to have to manipulate it a lot. You don't have to. You just hit this now. You just do video, and we have some other more exciting ones now too. So we also have cropping an image and cropping a video. So if let me see if I have a video. Actually, let's go to oh, what happened? Stop it. Zoom is in the way in a million different possible conceivable ways. Let's go to Decentraland. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll bounce around to two places, and I'm going to get to that biscuit thing real quick. So the crop in video is being used in a venue called the Deadfellas, their headquarters. Let me log in. Yes. I'll show you how it's used. There's probably another 5 or 6 more utility functions that are coming as I get time to put them in. It just takes a little bit of time, but we'll have a UI animation utility very soon. The dynamic image is going to be moved into DCL Dash. It'll be maintained there. A lot of the animation stuff that I just showed you is actually going to power that, so it's more efficient. I'm going to have to rebuild it. The original one was from like a year ago, so there's a lot of things I've changed. But let me just show you guys the screen real quick, and then I'll show you the source, and then I'll show you what we can do with this crop utility thing. This is a Deadfella space. It's going to have a massive overhaul very soon. It's going to look really good. So this is the location. You can see there is a video playing on a screen. And it's actually, it's one video being sliced up into different sections. I guess we came in a wrong picture, part of the video. So we're not really seeing a lot of activity, but we do have, I think, a video. 1 second. Let me just pause my screen real quick. Let me find the video first. Yeah, I found a video. Okay. So this is an example of one of the videos, how it's too wide, one, but you can but they have, these are spanning across. It's one video, but we want to slice this up and put these little pieces on the screen. So if I was to just pause it a little bit further back, right? I think like right around here. Where's that screen? We can see that in this world, there's like this screen, this screen, this screen, this screen, like they're all various sizes. We would crop out just this part of this video. We crop out just this part, and we want to put them on separate planes and have, the same video texture is used for all of them, which is the smartest way of handling it. So you have good performance and everything. Sometimes it's hard to build, by the way, but you would use this utility essentially, UV crop video, and then you'd be able to pass in the full videos width. So I don't know, it's like 1900 by, I don't know, 500 pixels, like the whole size of this video, right? And then with Photoshop and other stuff, you can find out how wide the width is. So like for like this one, I don't know, let's just make up a number. That's 200 pixels, let's say. And then, the height is 400. And then you want to also position, where does the cropping start? Does it start in the 0, 0 all the way up over here, right? That's this top left is 0, 0, by the way. You put it here, and yeah, I think probably about, right? So this would be the top left-hand corner, for instance. But over here, this would be different. This would be this cropping for this specific video would be whatever in Photoshop, like 200, 300 pixels over, and then maybe 10, 20 pixels down. Right? But you would have all of these things. And actually, we're going to show, I'm going to look into that in Photoshop in just a second, how we can get that really easily. But this little function right here would crop it out for you for just this one little video if I was to attach it, the video stream and everything. So it's really useful. I love it. I think it's great. And also does the same things for images as well. There's a couple fewer options, I think, for this though. I don't know what maybe it's a different name. Yeah, it's image width, image height, the same stuff. And this also is flipped for some other reasons and stuff. But that's there. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at one way that we can get those images out. So I originally wanted to start showing you guys like a new game that I just started working on last night. Where if you've ever played BioShock or any of those types of games, there's always a weird game that includes if you guys ever seen it, but there's always like this game where you have to get the water from one section to another. You have to organize these pipes in a particular way to complete the circuit, right? Every game has a variation. I think in Deus Ex, it's how to hack. I think even in the new Cyberpunk game, they have something similar, but it's a pretty common game. And I thought it might be fun to pull into Decentraland as an activity for us. So in order for me to start that, I had to build out a sprite sheet. And this actually is the reason why I'm jumping to this real quickly. I know it's a little chaotic today, is because this is how we can get those values of when we want to slice out an image and everything, right? So I have in Photoshop, if you have Photoshop, there is a slice selection tool over here, and you can click it and do slice, and you draw the boxes for your areas that you want. So I've cropped out each of these little, see, like this is one piece, this is the T piece, this is the X piece, L exit, right? And then there's two states of all of these, if they're on or if they're off, right? And I got them all, I set them up too, so I could do we could change the art with them really quickly if we wanted to. But anyway, they're there. When you create a slice, you could double click it and it shows you the X, the Y, where exactly the values that we would put into slice out. So we have X and Y, and we have the width and the height. And we're very lucky in that all of these are exactly the same size. It takes a lot of time to get prepped to do this type of thing, but the end result is cool because you could just make some adjustments on your layers and resave it and kind of make your own style. It's actually pretty sweet. But these values here, so what I will plan on doing in the very, very near future is well, I hope maybe we'll get to it today. I don't know what time it is. But I'll show you real quick. So the end output for this thing is the sprite, as you saw, but what we also need is these X, Y, Z height width positions. So we have, you know, I kind of just cloned all of those out into a separate, I don't know why it's called POAP, it's pipes, pipe, right? Empty tile, the X, Y, and the width and the height are always the same, so I just kind of replicate them. But this is kind of what I do. I just generate like a cheat sheet, spend an hour just making sure it's all really good. And then from there, when we're entering into our game, we start to do the business logic. I'll try to get to this maybe later today. You can see that it slices the image. Where is it? Where's my image slice? Oh, I'm doing a dynamic image. Where the hell am I slicing this image? I might have actually just hard coded it. Interesting. All right. I thought I actually used it in this project, and I guess I didn't. But this is, you know, you would put it in there. It handles all of this. So if I wanted to technically, oh no, this is a UI element. It's not a, never mind. Don't worry about it. Sorry. the UI is different entirely from our planes in the 3D world. In fact, the UI, I would consider it to be it's chaos. It's just insane and very, very difficult. So I have to handle it a little. I'm gonna make more utilities pertaining to that. Don't worry, those are coming. And one other thing before we get back into it is these lighting systems here will also be part of the DCL Dash utility. You'll be able to import your lights. You'll be able to adjust colors, kind of animate them, to make your own scripts to leverage the animation queue and all of those things to give them some abilities. But these will be coming and they'll be part of the utility. It's all done through code, except for the actual texture itself. But they look really good, I think. I mean, they look pretty sweet. But I'll add those in just about a week or so, maybe sooner. The lasers are not going to be part of it. Those are built in.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they'll be in there. It'd be cool. And if you guys want any features, like if you want to use them, you want to build, you want to add to it, help, please. Like this animation system, I'll tell you what it's doing. It's you randomly put a plane that's invisible down on the ground, and what it has is they're picking a point on that plane randomly, and they're just moving to it at a certain speed. And as they do that, they're like, I'm going to pick a random color. And that's all they're doing. It's just dancing. But you can also target them and point them in a specific direction, which is cool. If I was to actually start this video, show you guys real quick. If I was to, oh wait, let's change the video. I think that's there. All right, if I change the video to play, I have like this countdown clock that starts, and it turned off the lights. I have it set to just to stop them. It could set them to an original location. They kind of still do a little bit of like a light blend, but they stopped. And then once the show starts with the new video, boom, then the lights go on. Ooh, it's crazy. Yeah. Anyway. I'm a little bit off today. Sorry, guys. A little all over the place. I've been programming nonstop for like 2 weeks, and I think my sanity is slipping, very much so. Anyway, look out for DCL Dash. More stuff to follow. It'll be cool, I promise. And you two should
You're on point with the code, though, man. I mean, you didn't make any mistakes earlier when you were coding her, and I saw.
Oh, really? That's a rare. It's rare. Yeah, I've been kind of. I don't even know. Thank you, though. Is there any feature? Let me ask you guys a question. Is there anything that you think should be in this library that you're just like tired of dealing with? You're frustrated about? Is like these tools are to help us all together make these things like less stressful. So, does anyone have any ideas like off the top of your head?
Hey, Patrick. The animation tool, I still couldn't. Was it callback functions? It didn't seem to work. I suppose have you looked into? I don't. Maybe I just didn't understand how it was working, but it just it seemed like it was starting a new animation every single time I called a callback function. So I had to gave up on it.
Are you talking about the dynamic image?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm redoing that with these new utils. That one is not as documented, and actually, I think if I sat down with you and I saw how you were using it, I would get some feedback on, and maybe we can even do that. Because like the new version is supposed to be, it's supposed to be like jQuery at the end of the day. Maybe I should even. I mean, I should start working on it.
Yeah, I really wanted to use it because I did do an animation, but I just I couldn't refer to the object once the animation was triggered.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at that real quick. I am in the process of reprogramming the dynamic image, and you guys tell me if it would be like a good learning experience to just see how I'm gonna do it. Because I could probably program it in like a half an hour maybe. Because I'm just really porting the old version over to the new version. Could do that. Take a look. So we got in the middle of the screen is that tile, and it's like clickable from that game. So we are going to get to this tile game very soon. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to rotate it with dynamic image, but I have an older version of it that we can look at the code, and we can try to port it now if you guys want. I could walk you through how I'm going to build it out straight up some point tonight. Anyway, do you guys want to see how I would add it or build it? Or not? How do you guys want to do the rest of this session? I don't know how much more time we have anyway. We got like what, like another half an hour?
Oh, you're building the pipe game?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I came up to this, like I wanted to animate it, and then I decided to just, I had to rebuild the other library, and I just stopped. But
So what are
this
you,
pipe game-
building a 3D structure from a 2D image? Is that what's going on?
no, this is just straight up picture. This is really just a sprite image right here. I'm not even bothering with the 3D version of it. It's just going to happen in the UI. So I had previously extracted out all of the slices from Photoshop of the X and the Y locations of everything. And now I started messing around with, new pipe game. I made a new thing to hold this, which is just a regular class. It's not anything. We're dealing with the UI, so there's no entities really with it. It's just different. And in here, I just wanted to test out a single tile. I wanted to see how to render it out, because I know that each of these tiles, they're going to have to be rotatable. Then they're going to have to know exactly what direction the flow is per type of tile, and getting into some object-oriented nature of it. Like I would start off with just a tile itself, which is I get the texture. Let's get rid of this dynamic image. Maybe I'll have it finished, and then next week we can mess with it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Patrick, that when you say rotate an image on the UI, I don't know if that's like, you'd have to maybe rotate the UVC, not the actual image itself on the screen. Is that what you're thinking? Like the bit, what do you call it? UVC? What's that? What's another word for
UV
that?
mapping. Well, there's no
UV
UV
mapping.
There's no UV map on it. It's a good point, but you can flip it horizontally though. But I think you can flip it vertically. Yeah, you
I
can't.
don't think you can rotate the UI
it.
image on the screen.
Damn it, you can't actually rotate it. So that means that in Photoshop, you're right. So that means that I would have to extend the, we'll do that. We'll do some slicing for this then. That sucks because I wanted to rotate it. I forgot all about it.
Couldn't you rotate the UV map?
No,
No.
there's no UV maps on that. But what you could do
In
is
multiple copies, yeah.
you could start the crop here and then go negative, and it will actually do it horizontal.
Yes.
Right?
That's the UV mapping. isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of that. It's sort of like UV mapping. It's a little different because it's technically it's handled a little different. Maybe we can do that. It just seems like a weird thing to do. But let's think of that real quick. So we'd have to know the direction.
All this UV mapping stuff's a bit finicky though, isn't it, for this?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah. Because we'd have to come up with a way of handling these values based on the direction of, is it up, down, left, or right, I guess? Or how do we put it? Like, I guess, do we do it by rotation and just have, Yeah.
I think you should do a no-brainer and just have multiple copies of the same image, just rotate it in Photoshop.
yeah, that is probably the the better way of doing this. So let's look at this, let's do some Photoshop work then. Let's get into this a little bit. I don't know how many people have Photoshop because it costs some money.
Well, there's GIMP.
Use again. Okay, it's got about the same equivalent, I think. I don't know if they have the slice tool though. Do you know if they have it on GIMP?
No, I could Google it.
So we want is these are all going to be rotated in one direction, and then we want to.
Yeah, it has less.
Yeah, how do we do this properly? Because I did this because I wanted to be able to just quickly come in here and just adjust the properties on this thing. If I wanted to style it differently, I would just do it once and it would work. But now that we have to make a rotation for each of these individually, oh, well, it gets a little bit weird, I think. So let's mess with it. Let's turn this to be black so it's not glaring. Let's just extend the canvas out a little bit more. And I just hit Command T. When you're selected on a thing, you could hit Command T on a Mac, and then you could do things easily, like rotate an image, for instance, which is really impossible for some reason in the UI. Forgot all about that. There's no rotation. That's not good. Then I hit Command H to hide and show all of these fancy things. It's very similar to Blender in that way. And I'm going to toggle off these effects that I have for the time being. And just because I want to deal with the solid shapes of these guys for right now, for at least this one. And I'm going to just kind of pull it down. Let's get rid of this mask. Just trying to be all tidy with it. Let's move it down. So how many we need? Have 4 of these. And then for one style, right, we need 4 of them. And then we also will have to clone it again to do the light version, I guess. This is tedious. I hate this. I hate this part. But we can do. Two. So I also extended it out a little bit because I wanted to allow for the edges to be a little bit more. So how do I put it? The reason why I did it this way is so that when I apply those effects, that they would not have like any weird edges when on the slice. Sometimes when you slice out a picture and apply it to the UI, it'll kind of grab either a little bit more of the image or a little bit less sometimes because of like half pixels and stuff like that. And it just sucks, to be honest. So I'm just going to rotate. Well, that one's fine. That one doesn't need rotation. That one needs, this only has 2 rotation styles, right? And this one's always going to face that way. So then I guess this one, I just have to rotate it. Let's just play. Maybe I can do it really quick actually, because there's not too many of these states actually, when I think about it, right? There's just, this one has to face up. We'll delete all the other pieces and see if we could kind of pull that thing back again. So there's that one, and then we have to have one more that fits on the right. Okay. It might help to put like a tile down so I can see all of the individual spaces. So I'm just going to make a quick layer that is just going to have the black background of this. And I'm just going to clone it. When you have a layer in Photoshop, or I think even in GIMP, if you hold on like Shift Option, I think you can clone them. So you can see a little bit better. This is sometimes a little bit easier. And if you select multiple versions, like I just copied it like a bunch of times, I can grab, actually I have to grab one more. Hold on a second. I want to grab this one on the end. Right, I can select all of them. And then I could also Shift Command, and now I can clone all of them again. Right, and move it down. And do that again. Right. If I wanted to. Yeah, this is a little tedious. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. This is the normal one. Just toggle it off. Okay. I want to make it easier to see everything for right now. So I'm going to clone this one more time. Move it all the way up too, because there's this one up here. And because I have all of these selected, I'm going to grab all of the black tiles because I want to hide all the other stuff that was there. I just want to see the tile itself. So I'm going to select all of them. And then I'm going to drag them to a new folder. And I'm going to apply a mask to them. So I have essentially just adding more of them. I'm just, you can see the dots. I'm just adding the selection to each of these. Should join them. Let's merge all of them. Yeah, so now it's easier. Now I just grab them all and then I make a mask of it. Okay. Everything to the top. Pipes in. Okay, so now we have our tiles. Some of these we don't need, right? If we're going to be rotating this thing, they're not even perfect. This one here needs to be rotated, for instance. We'll just merge all of it. I'll just deal with the hard shapes to start. Right. Oops. I'll merge all real quick. And now I'll just do it this way. So we also have to rotate this one. Do it that way. And then this one needs to be rotated. This one we don't care about because it's always the same, actually. For the most part, right? We don't care about that one. And then we have, I think we only have two of these. That just rotates that one time.
Excuse me, Pat.
What's up? Yes.
Someone had a question on Twitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
What is the question?
I wrote it in the chat.
Okay.
Not sure if you can check it out.
Wouldn't it be possible to use a vector 3 with the Euler rotation and transform after the Euler angles? So this would be if we were to do this in 3D, which I'm beginning to wonder maybe we should even do that. We would be able to do rotations exactly that way. Unfortunately, the UI doesn't have all of the abilities that you'd expect. And I think that there's some work that they're doing to make it more CSS JavaScript like, which would be great. I would love that personally. But in the meantime, when we build out things for the user interface, like this little button here, this is part of the UI. It's as part as these little buttons here and the map and everything. There's no rotation on them for some reason. But if we were to do this exact thing with like a 3D like in 3D, which we could do technically. Should we do that in 3D? We could. We could make, I don't know. It would take a while. It takes a little bit more time to do it in 3D, to be honest, unless we did a plane and it was in the 3D plane, we can do that. Let's do that. I'll get this prepared.
It
We'll
might
do
be
this.
easier.
Yeah, I mean, it would be easier, but then I think it defeats the end purpose of what I personally wanted for it.
Yeah.
To do. So it's just the pivot it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. So let's
Because
start
that's
off.
similar to what I was doing with the, with the blocks and that.
3D pipe game. Let's call piping 3D actually, because yeah, when you're dealing with, you did an amazing job on those blocks, the block builder, by the way. I mean, you're leveraging quite a lot about the same type of stuff actually.
Yeah.
It's really cool. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, what is the name of that specific project again? That kind of escaped me.
Well, we haven't come up with a name. Right now, it's just called PG Builder. Yeah, my partner didn't like the name that I come up with it, so we're nameless at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got maybe at the end I could just show you like an update a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I love
Got
that.
time.
I think if you want to get that prepared, we'd love to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Or even if you wanted to show it right now while I get some of the scaffolding, because it takes some time and a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
takes a million
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
feel free
Okay.
to-
I can
Hopefully
just
answer the
quickly
question, by the way, from Twitch.
so there was an example like this example. Rotate Euler. Is that, sorry, Alex, is that for following the sun kind of thing? You've got a time-based rotation.
You can do a time-based trans. Yeah, we can do those now. I mean, you could do them with an I system in the past, and I think even the ECS utils had their some animation utilities as well. Like moving things along a path was really cool.
Yeah, I want to do something that follows the sun, like a solar panel, and that kind of looks like yeah, something that you could use for that, like a time-based and rotation angle-based thing. I'll just, do you mind if I show off the?
Please. Yeah, I'm just gonna be doing this, and then I'll explain
Yeah.
what I did after.
Cool. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting it ready.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you for relaying that that question from Twitch. If there's any others that come from other platforms, I know we're kind of all over the place. Just relay them to me. I appreciate it.
Perfect, will do.
Okay, can I share the screen at the moment?
Absolutely. Do you need to have permission to do that? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll try it anyway. See what happens.
You got permission.
Thanks.
Thank you, Texas. How you been?
Doing good, doing good. It's good to see you today.
Good to see you too, man. It's always good to see you.
Texas, are you in Colorado yet?
Oh yes, beautiful Denver, Colorado.
How long you been there for now?
Oh, I've been here for a couple of weeks now. I'm enjoying
That's-
it.
Oh, great. That's good.
I got to see some more snow. I really appreciate it.
Just the last of the snow, isn't it?
For now, I believe, but this morning it was 36 degrees Fahrenheit. So I wonder if we might get some more snow.
Well, hopefully you do before weather gets warmer. I've lost my windows. Where are we? Can you see my screen at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I've lost my Zoom. I don't know what's happened to it. Okay, so what since last time? So I remember, Patrick, when you did a presentation, you had the one with the elevators and the floors. Been slowly implementing that. So the idea is that buildings, exterior buildings are 2 by 2 meters blocks, which are larger block sizes. I've implemented the UI, a better UI, and I wanted the animation for this. You know, like the old Flash animations that had the triangles that sort of the rectangles that expanded.
Mhm.
I wanted to do that, but I couldn't remove them once the animation was triggered, so I couldn't turn it off and on.
Okay. You can do that. You can add that in. Oh wow. Set the color.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of work and we've added like colors and
Wow.
one cool thing I found out is this block in particular is climbable, so you can go up really high like a scaffold.
That's sweet.
And
Like a Fortnite tower, essentially.
sorry.
It's almost like building a Fortnite tower.
Yeah, well, it's kind of similar to that actually. So we've added blocks for colors for every single one and a border. So you see the cell shading.
Yeah.
So I can change there's some really good colors you can pick, like black with pink border is quite good. Pink.
How is are these all you're rendering individual planes for each of these? Is that right? Or
No, I've given up on. Well, I haven't given up. I did 3D models in Blender. I wanted to do that because that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
The potential for that is just mind blowing from what I'm thinking. But I just got to crack on with the MVP sort of stuff. And so we added all the different color models. We got cell shading for each one with this called a border.
Yeah.
So I can add a block with the orange border. Unfortunately, you can't do emissions because the body, it would add a material or for every emission, like every single block, it would add a new material.
Yeah.
So that kills it. That kills emissions. The only way to do emissives is through plane shape, I believe. I don't know if that would increase the mesh for each one.
Yeah.
Materials for each one. Anyway, so it's all about minimizing the resources required. I've got so if I add a block here, it's a different size. So this is this floor represents an interior floor, and these blocks represent the exterior.
Yeah.
And so the interior ones are smaller size blocks. So when they don't get loaded until you actually until you're touching the floor. So this allows for multiple floors to have like highly, high complex interiors that don't get loaded until you're actually there. So to reduce the resource cost. Here's a I've just load up something that I've just that I was mucking around with. So a build. So we're just hooking up the database now. This is just local
Wow. Fancy.
local data.
Wow.
What's going on here?
Can so there will potentially be like different tile sets then? If those are 3D models, would people be able to like make their own stairs, like as long as they just fit a cube and like have a tile set? Or do you plan on making your own tile, like a, you know, like a almost like Minecraft, where you just have all these different style tiles, like some might be concrete
The-
stairs and wood stairs and stuff?
Potentially, yes. There was because these are there is a template I could use in order to have a material that's attached to each of the various cubes,
Mhm.
but the limitations are again the mesh count. So if you were to mix too many different tile sets, it would blow out the mesh materials count. So the idea was that maybe each, like if we were to have areas in which had only specific materials, maybe just
You
to
know,
limit to get around the counts and all that sort of stuff.
yeah. If you did, let's say you were to do an experiment and make the Minecraft tiles, they're so low res and stuff that you can probably just have one image texture that just has.
Oh
all-
yeah, yeah.
1024, I think, is the texture limit size. 1024 by 1024. You can pack all of them in there. I mean, there's a lot of math about how
I guess
to.
that's why they did
how
it
to-
like that.
Yeah, I think so. That's probably. I mean, it could work out even if it's low res like that. I mean, the polys are low. I mean, you're just dealing with a lot of primitives.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be, there's still certain blocks that would be rendered but not visible, which is, there's no real way to fix that, but it's where boxes. But
We're thinking about doing it, but we just have to get the basics out now.
this
there is a
more than the
template.
basic, man. This is beautiful. You've gotten so far with this. It's like
Yeah, the
really
other thing
good.
I've done, I just well, this is just a lot like last week. I
Yeah,
just did
uh,
let me see if you can see. Oh yeah. So if you press so I've got the icon. So what was the changes now? Unfortunately, the rotation of the plane shape is bit wonky. Like, it changes depending on the rotation of that plane. So I just added that. So because what was happening is I was actually accidentally deleting things when I wanted to add them and rotating things when I wanted to delete them and all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. So there's just workflow sort of stuff that I'm dealing with. But the database stuff's coming along, like some corruption.
I have a question or two about the roadmap for this. Is it, you're going to release it as like a game? Is it going to be like a library that people can use to build their own stuff on their property, or how does the roadmap for this look from your perspective?
There's one is to create content for Etheria, and that will be like a bespoke creations and bespoke data maybe stored locally, and that would be to create like buildings. The other one is to create a rental system so that people can rent out plots of land and build their own content on the land. Yeah, so we've got a few features for that. And
Awesome.
What do you think of that idea?
I like it a lot. I can help out in certain areas if you need with certain parts of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. The velocity's been development velocity's been you know what it's like. I'm sure you know what it's like. So I've been listening to all the get around to it and self-help things to keep my velocity going, but you know, it's still always a struggle to, but we're you know, consistent effort. We're slowly pushing through all the issues. And
does anyone have any questions about this project? I know that I'm not seeing too much in Zoom, but if there's people that have other questions on other platforms, they can just relay them to us in Zoom. I know there's got to be a lot of people at, like, this is such a really interesting project that I can't imagine it.
yeah, I think one of the things is we wanted to address the issue of like the issue of the people who are, you know, interested in Decentraland but don't want to code.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's who we're trying to address.
It's almost like you're bringing crypto voxels into Decentraland, which is interesting.
Well, well, they're more than just voxels. They're all crypto primitives. I don't know. But yeah.
There's a question that just came in from Slide. By the way, thank you, Slide, for that comment earlier about the Euler rotation. He's curious to know about the cube game. For the rotation, does he swap the cube with another cube that is rotated differently, or do you rotate it in code? And there's another question, but
so what, you know, you just like oh, something's off here. This is off. So the rotation would just be you select, you do it on array hit, and then you rotate the one that you're hitting.
Okay, so you are rotating the cube.
Yeah.
Do you despawn the existing cube when you're replacing it?
No.
It's another.
No, I'm not. This is something's wrong here.
Slide on Clay.
Something is wrong. So yeah, it's just selecting the object, and then you get the object and you rotate that object. You just got to do ray trace.
Okay, we get one more question from Slide. It's about the draw calls. So we're rendering all of these in Decentraland, right? So like does it take a tremendous performance hit from all of these individually? I mean, Decentraland does have a little bit of an issue with handling the replication of items, and not, you know, like there's certain performance things that they might have to do, but are you doing anything specific or handling it in a unique way than Decentraland is?
May.
Yeah, in the code.
No, this is all
Oh, just okay.
Decentraland, except for MongoDB for the JSON data. And that's been a challenge. There's something really off here. I don't know what. Sorry, I'm distracted by the breakage in my code, which is annoying. I have to go back and fix that.
It's looking great. So the in Decentraland, if you have an entity of a certain type that you're replicating multiple times, I don't know if Decentraland is doing any optimizations. It's the same object and it's being instanced multiple times. I know that in Unity and Unreal Engine, I think that there's stuff that it does behind the scenes to make that a lot more performant. I don't know personally enough about what's happening in the Unity renderer to be able to give a good solid answer there, unfortunately. But and also the frame rate that we're looking at right now, I'm assuming it's like really smooth on your end, and it's just a connection of the video that you're sharing with us.
Oh, is it laggy on your end?
It's typical Zoom lag. I can't ever tell if it's me or if it's.
Well, you can see that the frames, the FPS on the. You can read that? Is my screen too big or something?
Oh yeah, you've got 85 frames per second. Okay, so you have absolutely no issues whatsoever.
No, it's
Yeah,
you know,
Just
it's
so
my
anybody-
internet. I live in Australia.
It's the
part of
internet. Yeah, Australia for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, cool. All right. That's it. We got some database stuff happening in the back end, and
Yeah, it's quite a lot of progress, by the way, and just like I think you showed this off a couple of weeks ago, and it's already got like a much nicer UI, and you've built quite a lot of DP stuff, and yeah, it's looking really good. I'm excited to see how this project like unfolds, and it can't wait to actually jump around in it and play with it inside of Decentraland.
Yeah. So,
You definitely will have to let us all know when that day happens.
yeah. Yeah. So it's an ongoing thing.
Sweet. Love it. All right, I think there's no more questions. Yeah. So a lot of conversation from Slide today. He likes your project, by the way. Slide on Clay from Twitch.
Cheers.
Sweet. Is there any way for people to, do you have a Discord or anything like that for people to follow that project, or is it still kind of private? For now?
We got a whole like business thing that my friend's going through, and when he's happy, we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
More social kind of stuff. We're antisocial at the moment.
All right. All right. Well, we'll post updates as they come. Be sure to let us know, and then we'll announce it to everybody. So, where am I here with this thing? Okay, so I made a plane. We're just gonna do some quick things with this, I think. We got some Euler angles here. We can rotate it. Let's move it up a little. One of the things I just want to do right now is use the UV to apply that texture. I want to slice it from the image that we have. I'm just going to use the existing one because why not? I already have it. And actually, in the pipe game, I have this image data. I'm just going to copy it over here. I'll release this repo too by the end of probably end of the night. I don't know if I'll do it immediately after this is over, but by tomorrow you'll have it. It'll be on my GitHub. So we have the empty tile, we have an L tile, T tile, X tile. Let's just pick X tile. Actually, I know I need to see one that rotates. So which is the best one? That's the L tile. It has the most states. Okay, cool. So pipes image data empty. Okay, so I'm gonna import this in the top of my project and pull it from the current directory. And I just, for the start, I just really want to just grab that L tile just to test. We're going to eventually make it so that this constructor function will either pick the tile, or do, you know, what state it's in as well, probably a couple other things. But in the meantime, we just want to get the bare bones of it done. So this is the basic setup here. We're going to do, let's pull out that L tile from the pipes entity. Let's log it to see what it is, right? It's just going to be the width and the height, and the X and the Y of where that slice needs to happen. This doesn't have a material yet, so let's go ahead and just make one. Just gonna make a quick one. We're gonna probably want to reuse the texture for all of these instances of the tile. So it's probably good if we were to export this or just import it once and have one tile. So let's do, we might need it in another file. So pipe plane texture equals new texture. Yep. And we have image slash pipe game slash pipe game sprite dot jpg. Okay, I'm gonna just add this texture. So we're just gonna do this dot add component. This dot material. So we're gonna see when I save this, it's gonna change the color because it's gonna go from the default color to a material, a standard material. So we can tell that it is attached proper. Let's do this material. Let's add that texture to it. So let's do material dot albedo color, which is diffused. It's known by many names, but for this, we're just going to set this to be the pipe plane texture. Wait, am I doing that? Albedo texture, sorry. Right, and I hit save. I might have to refresh, actually. I should also make sure that I got the right name. Pipe game sprite. Pipe game sprite. I think it's right. It appears correct. Let's see it. Interesting. I wonder why that is. I always copy the name. I typo like crazy, so I just try to do that. Oh, it is this one, right? We are actually impacting this. This is the actual. Yeah, it is. Okay. I did just slight rotation just to make sure that I wasn't doing it wrong. Yeah, that is the exact name. I'm confused. I don't get it. That should have just done it. You should have attached it instead to albedo color for yeah. What is happening here? I might have exported it as incorrect. Images. It's always a typo all the time. Yep. Okay. So we saw what happened here. We saw that when I added it correctly, I added that S because I'm an idiot. We had, see how it automatically, it does a weird rotation on it. If we look at the actual picture, it's not that way. It's in the top left-hand corner. So for some reason, by default, it just messes up with these UVs. That sucks. We don't like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into our shape, right? So we've accessed the shape. We're not just doing this, new plane shape inside of the component. We can actually mess with it. Let's see. Let's move these down here. This dot shape dot UVs, and now we're going to use dash UV image, and you can see that it rotates it the right way. Thank God. Cool. It's also a little bit dark. There's no other attributes on this material, so it's kind of dark. It's just the light hits it as night turns to day and all this other stuff. It just really impacts it a lot. So what we can do here is we can set the emission intensity, emission texture, emissive texture to the same the same thing. And we'll notice like nothing really immediately happens in that's there. And that's mostly because there's no emissive color. So this bothers me a lot. Color for white. If you set the emissive color to white, you'll see now it actually glows a little bit. Maybe someone argue too much, but it's still not sliced exactly the way that I want it. So instead of just doing this UV image, what we're going to do is we're going to do dash image, crop image, right? And we have the image width, which is let's move tile up a little bit. I want access to it. We have L. What are we doing? What's the first one? Was width. L tile width. Oh, that's the whole image. It's 256. We have to do the whole image first. I'm sorry. So it's 256. I know. I just happened to know it because I said it. And now the crop width, which is the 16. X L tile dot Y. Let me open it up a little bit. Let's see. I'll space them out a little. Maybe I can do something where you pipe in those like instead of these values, maybe you pass in an object that has those values in it. Right, that might be more user friendly. Anything that happens that way that you guys think will think that is more user friendly, let me know, because I think that would work too. Crop image, what else is there? Image height. Oh, yeah, image width, image height, crop width, crop height. Tile X, tile Y. You know what? This should have been it. I don't know why it's not doing it that way. It's almost like it's not doing anything at all. All right, I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that. To be honest, it should have just worked. Width, is it? These are all the same. That's weird. I don't know. Let's imagine a cropped. It's still in the works right now. I have to maybe look into it. It's a little embarrassing, but it should have just cropped that specific image out. Maybe I still need to work on it a little bit more. That's weird. Is it? Can I actually do something real quick? I want to log out what the result is. To be honest, I'm curious. Let's take a look at it. So this is what the UVs generally look like. They're just an array of numbers, and they're grouped into two like XY, 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 XY. And I know immediately now why this is wrong. To be honest, let's go back. I have to update the function. It's only returning one set. So technically what we want here, and I'll fix this later, is we need both, we need two of these. Actually, there we go. So this, the XY, 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 that's really only 4 points, right? When we have a UV, we have to keep in mind that it's not just the front, it's also the back of also. So a plane actually takes in quite a number. It takes 4 XYs per side. So a total of 8 and 16. This array should be 16 values in size. But there, it does work. I have to fix this. So it should automatically just kick this out. So I'll have to fix that later. It does that internally. So we have our tile. Now, if I want to just like do something real quick where I just add a button and rotate it, let's just do that and then we'll call it a day. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll take a look at this. We'll make it a lot more dynamic. Maybe I'll make 3D models. I don't know. But let's do this dot add component. A new on pointer down is how we do a click event for an entity. So I'm just adding it just as I would add transform shape. And let's just do something real quick to test it. And let's do click the plane. All right, so now I hover over it, we see a very blurry interact because the graphics are really low for some reason. And every time I click it, we'll see down below, very small, this number is going up each time that I click it. So that is working. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try to rotate this thing 90 degrees. So let's see, what's the best way to do that? We do have our new animation thing that we did. So let's try that out. Let's do dash dot animation queue dot add. And I really wish it would output the setting here. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. Let's just go to my docs. Let's see what it was because I don't remember. I'll have to have it kind of show all the values so that we don't have to just do this every time. Okay, cool. And we want it to just rotate 90 degrees. So I don't need an on it, and I don't need a data. I just actually just need to just I might want to keep the incomplete so that maybe we disable people from clicking it again until the rotation is done. Might be useful. So, but we have our on enter frame. So this is where we want to actually do our rotation progress. So I'm trying to do it on the fly. Let's think about it. And we want it to maybe be, let's say 2 seconds. Let's say this dot get component transform dot rotate or rotation dot. I think it's rotate like that. Yeah, there's a function on your transform to just rotate something, and then you can tell it what angle. I always get this wrong, but it could be. Do you want to do that? I'm trying to think of. Let's do something real quick. Let's store the current value. There's probably better ways of doing this, but I just want to kind of do it maybe the easiest way for right now. So we're gonna grab the current rotation, whatever it is, and now we're gonna we want to lerp between the current rotation and the next rotation. So we're gonna do what is it? Oh, maybe let's even break this out. So let's do const transform. Let's make it its own value here. And then we'll pull out the rotation. So one thing to note, I'm making a new value for this. I can just copy and paste this all the time, but it just makes the code really long and weird. And I'm working in a tight space here. I don't want to have to be scrolling left and right. So I do this a lot. It also makes it a little easier to read. You know, you kind of want to read it like a book. And then start rotation. I'm actually just copying a reference of this. So if I was to mess with start rotation, it's actually going to be messing with the transform. I don't really want that. I want this to be like a clone of that value, so that no matter what I do to the transform, the start rotation stays exactly the same, which is really useful. So just a lot of these values do have this as an option. Like rotation, I think position, all of the parts of transform. Other things have it too. I'm surprised at which ones have it a lot of the time, right? But now I want to do, I want to like rotate this. So let's do, let's see, sorry, transform dot rotate, and then rotation. Let's do rotation dot. Does it do lerp? Doesn't have lerp here. Let's do transform dot rotation equals quaternion dot lerp. Is it slurp? It's slurp. Yeah, take the one of the rotate. You take another quaternion, and then you add another one, and then you rotate it. So let's start with. We're going to put a start rotation in there, and then we want to have a new set Euler. And let's just, I don't know, let's just pick a random thing, and I want it to be progress. Right, so it's gonna do like what we did earlier with the color and the size. Right, so when I click this thing, it should be doing this. I'm getting some messages. People are probably pointing out what I did wrong. Yes, so they're from Twitch. We'd love to have you in Zoom one day. Yeah, he's bringing up a point of the texture. I don't know if he messaged us recently or it's been an old one, but there is also an emissive intensity for this as well. There's some really cool effects you can achieve with it, but if you set it to be higher, Set it really high actually sometimes, and it just goes crazy. So you have 1, you can set it to 10. You can play with this value a lot if it's too bright. So just keep that in mind. I've used this for the lights in the club that you guys saw. I use it to actually control the color of the lights in a particular way where I only have one texture. It's really useful in a lot of weird ways. And I think in the future, I'll do, when I release the lights as the package, as part of the Dash package, I'll be sure to tell you guys how it works internally and everything, because it's actually like, it's pretty interesting. And actually Severance, who is a 3D modeler in the Decentraland community, he's an amazing person. He came up with the concept of how those pieces work. And I just kind of took his 3D models and made a programmatic version of it, essentially. But Severance is, you should see his videos of his props and stuff. He does beautiful fireworks and things like that. He's really great. He's in Discord. You can find him. Severance 3D. Okay. This should be moving, and I'm curious to know why. Let's do let's log the progress on this. Okay, so it is technically doing that. Maybe this slurp is not correct. Or I might have to do this .get component. Transform. Set it. Oh. Yeah, it was just didn't like that angle. That's weird. But here, it is rotating it. So what we could do after this, now on complete, I could do this thing where I can say, let's take, well, it should do it every time, shouldn't it? If I click it a second time, start rotation should start again. It should take the current one. Do I have to do this really every time? Okay. Ooh, I never got into the ease. Okay, so let's look at the ease. So we have progress. It goes from 0 to 1. Well, we also have a bunch of fun easing functions too. So Dash has ease dot, and we can do ease in bounce, right? And then we can pass in progress, right? So now it does like an animation. Pick the worst one. How about ease out elastic, or out bounce? That's fun. So you click it and then it bounces. So that's this whole easing function, all of these things working together, you can do some really crazy stuff. I like it. And we can do here. What else do we want to do? We want to make it so that it works again. We might be in a good enough spot. It's kind of moving when I do it. It's just weird. Okay, we're gonna probably end it there. I'll push this up so you guys can play with it. Check out the DCL Dash. You can see that it's pretty powerful. We were able to do quite a lot of weird stuff pretty quick, huh?
Oh yeah, sorry, but I think Slide has a follow-up thing to say about the color. I'm not sure you answered that yet.
Oh yeah, let me check. Let me see what he has in the chat. Oh yes, so yes, so Slide has brought up more stuff on this material, right? So we also have a mission. We have the emissive texture. The color, you do have to set it to. You don't have to set it to be white, but I think actually you could even put the plain texture in here too. I don't think it accepts it actually. Yeah, it doesn't. But if we were to do, let's say red, right? You see how it's like it's a little different now. Like it's almost taken on like a. Let's increase it a little bit. See how it's like. You can use the emissive color to kind of control what's happening, and you can also tween these things as well. So if we wanted to too, we can just have like two colors out here. And you know, hold on. And then you could tween them like we did earlier. By the way, which is oh, no, let's change the emissive color. Pass along the progress. So it'll rotate and change its creepy color. So it takes a little longer for some reason for that. I feel like the animation, it feels like it's over earlier than it really is, but we can also increase the speed. That animation will happen a lot more dramatically. Oops, I lost it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, okay, I don't know if there's any other questions. I think so. Slide, you should join the Zoom. Be fun to talk to you one day. We got to see what you've been up to in Decentraland. We do a little bit more of a show and tell in the beginning of the session, and then if you have any specific problems, we try to address them. Actually, we never did do that, did we? I'm so sorry, Ed. Let's take a look at one of my properties. We're gonna end the tile game where it is. I just want to make sure that I cover this this cookie thing before I forget. So on one of my properties, I have a logo that I want the people to be able to actually, am I already in Decentraland? I am. Yeah, I'm still in the club. So one of my property that I actually own, one of the only places I own, is down here. It's got a POI. You can see it. It's called the block. It's down here in the middle. And it's pretty cool. A lot of updates coming to this little place soon. But the logo, when you first enter into it, it has an appearance of 3D, and it's actually not. And I think that you can leverage this type of PNG stacking to achieve the same effect. So when you first come here, there's a logo. This one is actually 3D. I did do that one. But, God, what is happening to my computer? Let's take a look at it. Let's open up my... So by the way, the new version of DCL Connect, which is what I'm editing my property with, by the way, we're getting so close to having a release for it. It's coming, but you'll be able to create your own variables yourself. So like for my property, I have a logo. This is for Decentral Comedy, but if I want to change it to this other logo, I can just hit a drop down, hit save, and in the world, it's actually updated. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this logo, it does appear like it is 3D. And if I was to make it into a mesh, oh boy, it would be a lot of vectors, a lot of very unnecessary use of everything. But what it is instead is it is actually stacking the image multiple times. There's like 10 that are stacked. They're just a fraction of a difference in I think the X value. I'm not sure. And you can do that with this, with the plane, for instance. Like if I wanted to give this thing some pretend depth, for instance, what we could do is replicate this thing multiple times and just have the offset be black. Actually, if I set this to be black, I wonder what it would be. Yeah, they look like that. So let's just try that real quick. You would pick a different, you don't need to do it that way. In fact, let's set it to white because you're gonna have the cookies. You don't want them to be too dark. But let's just say this is your cookie. And what I'm gonna do instead is just very quickly just say offset number and position plus offset. I'm just really quickly just adding 0. I'll just replicate this thing a couple times. And I'll just do 0.1. Well, hold on. What am I doing? It's an offset amount. I'll just do it this way. I'm just making a whole bunch of these real quick. The fastest way. I think I can do it. All right, and I save it. Oh, wrong axis. Let's go back in here. It's not, can't really tell. But if I set, let's say, I'm just setting it so if there is an offset, do that. Although it should probably be. Did I do it right? I think I broke it. Anyway, I just want the first layer to actually have a specific property. So when these offsets are coming through, the very first one should be 0. I think that's the issue with this, is that the first one is 0. And I'm setting this color to be black, and then the first one is to be white. So it might be the other side is bright. It's kind of messed up. How about I just do this? I'll set. There we go. If first, make it white, and if not, make it black. It's minus.
So is there like a utility to do this, or you're literally just making multiple separate planes behind it in the code?
I want to make it a utility. I really do. And in fact, I very much, I probably could. Let me open up my project. I'll show you what it looks like on the block real quick. So
Also, add there might be, like in your instance, like probably the cheap, easy way is do it in Blender in the 3D file too. Instead of trying to do it by code, just trying to get that stacking effect.
Mhm.
it could be done in there. I wonder.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You
My
could do it.
my one issue with this though that I ran into early on is that if I do it separately for each cookie, that's going to be one material for each cookie, and I'm going to hit the limit on
Oh.
materials.
Well,
You
you use
you
this
don't have to do that.
bright
Actually.
sheet.
We can. I'll show you how to do it with a separate one. I think. I mean, because you can slice the texture, so you can have all of the cookies in one texture. I mean, you're gonna have different materials. Clear, like you more likely will because there's a new instance of it. Well, actually, no, it would be one material. All you're changing is the UV map for every plane. It would still have the same texture, and that's how you get it. You can have one for all of it. I think that's how I would do it. And there's other features that are coming into it too very soon. I just have to get the time to assemble it. Where is it? There's other stuff. I would love to show you guys all this stuff that I plan on adding and get some feedback even if it's worth it. Okay, so here we have the logo. I have an array. I have the width of the picture, right? This could be a variable. And it doesn't even necessarily even have to be here, I think. But oh no, it does, because it has to scale the thing. But anyway, I have a group of instances, and I set a default position, right? I just have a position that's just hanging out there. Offset amount. I have a material for the front, and I have one for the side. So just 2 for this one, and it's really just so I could just play with it. I did this really quickly. I just made a dirty array of 8 values. There's other ways to do it, but I make an instance. And when I make an instance, I'm passing in with a texture. So this is all of the sides, right? And I'm passing in a value of the amount, which is here. So it's just creating a whole bunch of these guys. And it's just doing essentially what I just did now, where it's just setting the offset and setting the parent. I also have some other functions here for like hide and show, so I can call it. I will make this a utility, and I'll put it in DCL dash by tomorrow. If you want.
Can you scroll back down so I can screenshot that?
Oh, I'll copy and paste it to you if you want. If you hit me in Discord, I'll actually copy and paste it, and then I'll even ping you when I add it to the repo later. You're probably going to have to pass in what the texture is, right? So if you look at what this image looks like in my property, I have this is it, right? The text is white. So this also used as an alpha mask as well. So the black and the white, like that works really well for me. You would want to do 2 textures, one of the color, or yeah, one of the color. I don't know. Can you do a PNG? Does it pull the alpha out when you add it? I don't even know. Maybe it does. I have to
Yeah,
check.
PNG as alpha.
It does, but when you do it as you have to set some values to it, I think. Like it doesn't know that it's transparent. Like I think in the component, I have to put a flag for is transparent or something. Because it has to set the alpha. There's a value that has to be. I think I'll work it out, but we'll make this a component. For sure. So yeah. And I'll copy and paste it. And then go back to the code so you can copy it. I know that you want that. So I'll make it smaller so you can maybe get it all in your copy. Picture. It could be a lot cleaner. I'll make it a lot better. It'll be fine. But the theory here is that what I will allow in my website there is you'll be able to just put a black and white picture and it'll have a 3D looking logo. So I can switch it in and out by just basically just replacing a picture, which is going to make managing my property a lot easier. And then ideally all of yours once it's public and you're able to use it.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I'll probably do this with my my front sign. So try it out, definitely.
It's sweet. Actually, there's a video. I did. Hold on. Let me pause my share for a second. I did this with video screens in alpha, and it was really cool. And I showed it in a video way back. And I just have to like go through all my videos real quick. And I have like some clients that don't want to see certain stuff, probably. NDAs, right? When I find the video, I'll pause.
Are you saying the videos can have alpha in it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That is cool.
And it's really fun. I was able to achieve like almost like it felt like a volumetric video. In the right hands with the right devs that, creative team, you could do some, I don't know, some stuff that I haven't seen at Decentraland other than my stupid little experiments. I would love to see something like that at the next Meta Festival. I'm flipping through like this is your life kind of stuff of all the pictures of the videos and stuff that I've taken. Hopefully it's on this computer. Oh geez, I don't know if I have it on here. I'm sorry guys. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not really seeing it. I might have posted a version of it on YouTube. Let me see if it's there. Which also reminds me, I got a lot of videos to push up for this. So I'll unpause this. So this is one of the videos. Look at how old DCL Connect was back then. But it does, you can add an alpha mask to it, but you can also add an alpha video. And if we were to stack this video in the same way, you get a really cool effect, actually. And you can do a video alpha. This was the video. This is the video slice wall with the same effect. I'll have to find that video. It's probably on my other computer, but you can take a look at it. Yeah. So there's that. And the utilities, the other ones that I will likely be adding is the teleporter here. So you can, the box highlight will be there, but then the fact that you can just stand in it, have some, teleport you to a place. You can set the time. Mine just took a little bit too much. And there's a whole other series of utilities for handling the loading and unloading of these contents. And there's a whole thing that I've been putting together over a long time to just allow us to define these areas. I'm actually unloading the rest of the building right now. So I'm in a little bucket. So we can hide and show other users. So we're not seeing people floating around in space. There's a lot of things that actually have to happen behind the scenes. I actually use this process in the Heineken builds. No, not the Heineken builds. Not yet. That's coming. Where is it? The Forever 21. I'm just like crushing my computer's abilities to do stuff right now. Hold on. All right, I guess I have to go there. I don't even know where it is technically. It's in the fashion district. But we did a build where there was like a yacht, and then you go into Forever 21, and it unloads all of the other content that's there and only loads the individual scenes. This gives us an opportunity to make our interiors as many polygons as the entire parcel actually has. Everyone's always trying to pack everything into it so it's always visible all of the time, and like we don't have to do that. It's kind of not really necessary. But if we come over here somewhere, I have no idea, where is it? Oh yeah, look, they got a POI already. Cool. You can come and take a look at it as well. So there's 3 scenes that are in here, and the yacht alone takes up every single parcel. So this is the Forever 21 building. And this is the yacht. We'll go to the yacht first real quick. So I guess you'll be able to rent out your yachts. So there's a zone that happens here where you enter and it fires an event. That will be part of the utility. And actually, you'll see some really cool stuff in the future there. I don't want to reveal too much, but you'll be able to add these zones very quickly. And here's one of the yachts. There's supposed to be more. They're coming soon. And here's one of the teleporters. So once you walk into here, it's going to unload the Forever 21 building and everything. And I'm in a yacht now, and I can use all of the polygons. This is also Severance, who did the lighting. There's a catwalk and stuff like that. So they'll be doing a lot of stuff here in the future. It's just getting the initial build out of the way. It was a tough challenge. But right now, if other users were to come in this space, they wouldn't see me right now. They enter this space, I see them. There's like it's weird because we're actually overlapping on top of each other. Like this experience is actually going to be taking up the same physical space in Decentraland as the Forever 21. So when I enter into this building, it's unloading all the other stuff, and now it's loading into this scene. But you'll notice on the map, I'm in the same exact kind of location as where I was with the yacht. But I'm not, if there was other people here, I'm not going to see the people that are in the yacht, because we have that new update about hiding avatars with the avatar modifier. And there's another party zone in the back here. And when I enter this one, it's going to unload all of the other stuff. And I'm like kind of in a smaller little bubble that also has a video with that cool transparency thing, right? You kind of see through it, but that alpha. So like these will be features that will be added, so we can all use it. It should make spinning these things up pretty quick. It should be good. A lot of time went into it, a lot of sleepless nights to get it right. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it and use it. That's all I want. Okay, so this place, come take a look.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
POI.
pretty cool, man.
It's gonna make our lives easier. That's the end goal.
How do people go shopping there? Like, can we buy stuff?
Yeah, I mean they're all wearables. So like you can come over here, and then you guess like it's hard. I guess it wasn't taken into consideration how far away it would be, but it takes you to the marketplace.
What
They
about,
actually did.
what about
there's-
buying from their website,
I'm not sure.
like physical clothes?
That's a good question. They're burning all of the ones that aren't sold after a period of time, and I don't know if it's already been done, but they had a certain amount that were available. They're still for sale, but when this is over, they're burning all of them. So that's an interesting approach to handling them. What is happening in Decentraland?
Well, yeah, well, Ed, I mean, that's really kind of the next run of every marketing company out there right now with Decentraland is, hey, Forever 21, let me go buy this for my avatar. 12 hours later or whatever, 6 hours later, it gets delivered at your doorstep. So your avatar not only has it, but then tying it back into the physical world for people that like, oh, I went out with what I got from my avatar and linking that. And it's companies like clothing companies. It works for a certain amount of companies very well, where then your avatar is a true reflection of what you're going out with that night.
Are they doing that now?
I mean, not that I know of, but I think that's kind of like the roadmap for like every one of these marketing campaigns is how to make this full circle.
Because
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I'd want to take notes on that because that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with my little shop. So
Yeah, I think what it all comes down to is how do you get their information in a way that's not like you have to send it to their physical address. So
Oh no,
whoever-
it'd be a straight up link out to the like Forever 21's website, being like,
Oh,
hey,
okay.
buy this clothes here. Never trying to do that transaction for physical on the but it would just be a link out essentially.
yeah, you
Hey,
probably have to
clothes,
when you
why
fill out
not?
your billing information, throw in your Ethereum address too, and then they'll airdrop it after delivery or something.
Yeah,
I had a gallery set up where I did do some photographs back in Second Life, which I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember that, but that's pretty much what the metaverse is 10 years ago. But I had a gallery there and someone bought a digital painting and she reached out to me and she's like, hey, I like to decorate my house just like how my Second Life house is. So I sent her a physical copy of it. We got in touch. She sent me money. She got the original print.
wouldn't it be great if there was a search button over here? You know, like a type all the POIs, you just like type it in and then I won't try to find the meta zoo. Zoo, are you on? He's always on. Where is he? He might not be on. I don't know. I never know where it is on the map ever.
He left
Oh,
earlier.
that boat. They have like a boat,
Yeah, I want
like
to
a
bring
beach
it
or
up. 'Cause
something.
he leveraged in a previous session we talked about right before the fashion show. Showed him the code for the avatar and we worked on it for a bit and he finished it off with the an avatar that wears the clothes. It clones yourself and then you know it looks really good. He pulled it off. And I can't find it. I don't know where he is. I feel like he's in the middle of a good area. He's always on the top of the events, and I'm surprised that he's not there right now. But I guess it's like a Wednesday.
Yeah,
night.
that's where I found it.
Oh, here it is. Here, Bauhaus. Oh, it's all the way over here. Wait, let me zoom out. Okay. All right. Now I know. But yeah, he leveraged the avatar thing. I'd like to make that into a component as well. Just tell it what, you know, it's hard to kind of find out the good user interface with it. Like as developers, they can handle a certain amount of parameters when you pass into these functions. But you know, newbies don't really know a lot about how to do some of that stuff sometimes. But if you come over here, like it cloned me, my beautiful self. Look at this. It clones you, and then you hit the button and it changes your stuff and it does a little dance animation. How great is that? And you can also animate them. He did a really good job. I'm very happy with this. It's fantastic. He's also added, he's got a game coming. You guys should take a look at that game. It's gonna be out soon. And he's got these things where you can purchase these and put stuff on them if you want to. You go to, I think his site, or there's some way of doing it. But then you could, there's a whole interface about putting them down and then setting the values. And I don't know what this Waifuman stuff is about. Decentraland, we have to have a talk. We have to talk, friends. But this place is starting to turn really, really, it's out of control. I love it. Okay, all right, that's it. I'll let him demo this place once the game is up. All right,
Is
we
the
went on.
wing fixed?
What?
The wings issue?
No, I don't know what's up with that. The auto dance is working fine. Sometimes when you enter into this space, wings will appear on your body. And it's probably residuals from the earliest days of Decentraland, when there was a way of having code execute on other people's property. But we're not sure where. It's like, it's part of the lure of this area. We don't know why it happens. No one is able to explain why. And it's been there since day one. So there's somebody on this property that has legacy code that if they were to try to redeploy it today, it wouldn't work because the Catalyst servers would tell them no. But for right now, like there's a Halo. Where is it? Is it pop in? I didn't see it. That's weird. Sometimes, oh, there it is. What is this? Where does it come from?
Magic from the land of magic.
It's very strange. Very weird. Someone's getting a call. All right, guys, I think it's long enough. It's 8:30. This is the longest we've had in quite a while. Thank you guys for joining this week. Hopefully it was informative. We dropped steep off the amount of participants. It's 8 people now. But thank you guys. And next week we'll get into more stuff and I'll have more Dash stuff to show you, hopefully. And
All right, man. Thank you very much.